light seeker, your levels are low. Trained onto the fella that glows. Klinger, you probably should know. He don't trust you so far as you throw. Bim boo daddy dong, bim boo daddy dong dong, bim boo daddy dong, bim boo daddy dong.
Most of the things we learn in school are pretty useless.
School really builds the social element of your life.
It doesn't cater to everybody's needs.
Schools that have a broader focus to prepare an individual for success and to be a member of the community.
On today's episode, we take a fresh look at the education system and the support structure available to mould our future generation. I talk to Samantha Brooks from the Foundation for Young Australians, and I venture the streets of Melbourne to hear what our children and adults have to say on this topic. Hi Samantha.
Hi.
Welcome to Pragati TV.
Thank you.
Let's start with why you chose the path of education.
I mean, as young as I can remember, I wanted to be a teacher. I think mainly because I had really excellent teachers, people who were really inspiring. I started as an English teacher in a secondary school, in the southeastern suburbs of Melbourne.
Can you tell us how you got involved in the Foundation for Young Australians?
Yeah, I was a Year 10 coordinator at the school that I was teaching at, and I brought in 2 groups over 2 years to the Foundation for Young Australians to do the Worlds of Work program. And I observed that program as a teacher and loved the facilitation style, and I loved the program and the way that it had a really positive approach to teaching young people about the worlds of work.
What's your role at the FYA?
My official role is program manager of the Worlds of Work program, but I also do a touch of facilitation. It took me probably about 6 months to just flick over from being a teacher to a relentlessly optimistic facilitator.
Wow.
But I feel like that has been a really great personal growth for me as well, in believing in young people and people in general. It's such a nice feeling to be optimistic about the world, and this place does that for me.
Sometimes I look at an adult and I say, geez, I don't want to be like that when I grow up.
Yeah, sometimes you see someone when they're working and you just think, well, they obviously didn't know what they wanted to do when they finished school.
I find it, a lot of them are really obsessed with money and like greedy. Because they all like go to work every day and they never get time to spend the money they earn. They don't spend much time with their family.
You want to do something that you really enjoy. You don't want to be stuck behind a computer like they are, doing something they don't want, always waiting for retirement or waiting for the next stage in life.
And I think that if they were in our shoes and got the opportunities that we got, like the subjects we got to learn and like the open days we get to go to, and like just to have another look on life, I feel like adults might be a little bit jealous of us because we have like the whole world in front of us and they've already made their choice, and some of them are happy and some just wish they could do it over again.
Teachers were lazy. 2 of them were drunk when they came to class. But this did happen in Australia because Australia embraces the kind of democracy.
What's it like being a teacher?
It's really rewarding. It's really challenging on some days. It keeps you active in keeping up with what the boys are doing, and I love it.
Education's not just about the subject that I'm teaching, but it's everything else that goes with it. So it's not, well, I know my material, that's the easy part of it. It's more about how do I engage this student.
At the end of the day, it's really fun because you're dealing with young people, and young people are fun.
What are some of the challenges as a teacher?
Some of the challenges? I think just the difference in the amount of students you can have in the class, so that you can have boys coming from all different backgrounds, but you can have them at all different academic levels, and all with their own individual personalities and challenges that go with that.
I found that after 4 years of working in the system that I was run down, and I felt like I was fighting against something. I didn't feel like I was doing something for good. I felt like I was fighting against a system.
How much of the responsibility of the child's development falls upon a teacher? I think there's a huge amount, and I think a lot of it's incidental. I think it's not that it's written that, as a teacher, this is what's going to happen. Each student is individual and each one comes with their own, baggage, if you like.
What qualities do you think make a great teacher? Support. Humour.
Someone who knows what they're actually doing really
well.
Give us a bit of freedom. Not everything's all about school.
Right.
Sometimes I just talk about life and give us life lessons and stuff.
You don't want someone who looks down on you. Like, I know you're a teacher and you're meant to be your elder and stuff, but someone who you can have a conversation with.
A teacher with a good attitude.
I think teachers in my schooling, they are my second parents.
Yes.
Who just hold my hand and they give me a right path.
We're on the topic of teachers.
Yep.
They obviously form a pivotal part of a child's education.
They do.
Are they the only part?
While they do play a really important role in a young person's education, I would argue that parents have a really, really big part to play in their child's education and the formulation of them as a human. And I would also argue that businesses and business owners, people that expect certain things from young people should also be contributing to their outcomes.
I guess the other aspect of that is too, their peers have a huge impact on them, and sometimes that can be a really an advantage for them, and sometimes that can actually be a very negative depending on the friendship group that they have.
The socio-economic status of a child.
Yes.
How much influence does that have on their education uptake?
I think it's universally argued that it has a really strong impact. The ability to buy books, to have access to a computer, to have the internet, to get to school on time, to have a healthy breakfast and lunch. Those sorts of things are all affected by the socioeconomic status of a young person. It's not to say that a child can't kind of claw their way out of low socioeconomic status, but it's about motivation to do that as well, and about not being kind of stuck in that terrible cycle of poverty.
The major influence on academic success is socio-economic status. From there, though, a school can make a big difference, and really it's about working with parents. So the home is incredibly important. That how much that the parents take an interest in their children's education has a great degree to do with how they're going to perform.
How much support is available for parents? How do we train them?
The support is there. The best thing that a parent could do is collaborate with the teacher. Like, having a two-way conversation is something that I think is really important. I think that just that kind of organic involvement in a child's development is something that schools are trying to do.
Right.
It's about parents making time as well to come and see those things.
The idea that success is about individual achievement is something that we certainly battle against as a teacher.
The value that is placed on young people as learners isn't focused on growth, it's focused on outcomes, and it's focused on the outcomes that they can get. And I think that that's a systematic problem. So if we think about VCE or HSC, the students are working for 2 years to get themselves an ATAR score, and based on that ranking we will either admit you to the course you want to get into at university or we won't. And like, if that's not outcomes-based learning, I don't know what is. That's a perfect example of ignoring the growth mindset. So the idea that you are going to be a versatile worker, and you're going to continue to learn and continue to grow is not really fostered by what we're expecting from young people who are finishing school. But I mean, that's my personal opinion, I have to kind of say that.
In the past, there wasn't the pressures on students who wanted to go down the arts, music, drama. Whereas today, I know we have many conversations with parents who say, I don't want my son to do drama or music because that's not going to lead to anything.
I think one of the things that they're trying to do really well in schools these days is experiential learning. So actually applying those new concepts that are being taught to a project that has a meaningful outcome that affects the young person in a positive way. I think that's kind of where education's going at the moment, and I think that says a lot about where our workforce is going as well.
When you say job, what do you mean job?
We shouldn't treat people differently. The carpenter, the doctor, the plumber, everybody has a role. If all of us were doctors,
there'd be no
engineers,
patients.
there won't be anybody to clean your toilet.
So the 21st century workforce is totally different to the 21st century education, which is a real problem because it's a mismatch.
Can we detail what the difference is?
The idea of staying in a job for 50 years is totally outdated. So the workforce these days is much more dynamic. It requires a whole bunch of transferable skills and for you to understand that you've got those skills, because the education system is somewhat archaic. The idea that you sit in a classroom and that you learn a skill and that you write a problem and then you do a test and you get 100% on that test. It's like getting 100% on a maths test is not going to teach you to be a dynamic worker. That mismatch is a real issue. It's not preparing our young people for the workforce that they're about to enter into.
What about if I introduce meditation?
We do a bit of it during class.
You do a bit of it during class?
Yeah, during RE, yeah.
If I introduce meditation in your classrooms, would you guys like that?
Does it take up something else? Because could we be spending other time doing something more productive?
What importance would you place on the softer skills? How important is it?
I think that they are really important. I think that in order to have a well-rounded person, you need to have a well-rounded education. I would say that it's very difficult to put the onus on schools and teachers to do that. I think that there needs to be an approach to wellness and mental health and other soft skills within a school, but their ability to deliver that in a meaningful way, I think, is quite limited. Yeah,
sure.
I think some schools do it really well. It needs to be something that totally infiltrates the whole curriculum. It can't just be an add-on.
Can you tell me about some of the initiatives at FYA?
I'll focus on the specifics to education, the
Sure.
educational initiatives that we have. We have the Worlds of Work program, which is a 3-day program that teaches young people about what it takes to succeed in life and work, or it gives them an opportunity to explore that. And we also have a program called $20 Boss, which is super fun, where young people are encouraged to start a business. So, you know, a real world experience of, you know, investing some money into something really purposeful and meaningful.
And it really teaches them the value of money then,
Absolutely,
doesn't it?
yeah. And teamwork and collaboration and innovation and being enterprising and entrepreneurial, all those buzzwords. We have a program that encourages young people to develop their own app for social good. We try to influence and engage and inspire young people to create change in their own world. That's kind of our shtick here at FYA.
For more information on the Foundation for Young Australians, you can visit www.fya.org.au.
My vision would be for all young people to feel that they have the capacity to be the best that they can be, to be empowered, enabled, and trust themselves and their ability to be happy and be optimistic about their own futures. Yeah.
Wow. How beautiful. Thank you for watching Pragati TV. I hope you've enjoyed it, and it's been a great learning experience for you, as it has for me.